Hey now, everybody. Welcome to the show. I am Simple Jack from Nation 30. Today we're doing a quick stream about one topic. But before we get into it, let me introduce the rest of the team. From Nation 524, we've got Matty D. And from Nation 285, we've got Lumbergh. Thanks, guys, for taking the time to join. All right, so the update is out. The warplanes have been released. Since the update, Lumbergh, you have already released a comprehensive video on the subject, so please, guys, go check that out on his channel. Right now, for this show, we're going to discuss how this new, and I do air quotes, Titan will have an effect on the game. So, and to be honest, we really need to discuss the issue with the melee-based cities. In certain situations, it's really nerfed the battle mechanics for melee cities. I saw a video where a battle was over 40 minutes long and it wasn't even halfway done. So I think that is probably an understatement to say that's a big nerf on Camel's side, but whether it was intended or if they're going to have some kind of fix for it in the next update, we'll see. But anyways, let me get into my Warplane Research Center. I think I have probably the easiest question of the day is we've got 5 planes available to us, depending on how many or what level your city is. How many players do you foresee like upgrading or updating each of them? Are they just going to do one? Lumbergh, give me your thoughts on that one.
I think it would definitely be a very small population that would do it intentionally. Now, many people may accidentally do it, and wasting a couple of XP on the couple of planes is probably not that big of a deal. But wasting items of evolving it. So one good news is that the skills seems to be applying to all planes, right? So that's a good plus for multiple planes, but it really does make sense that, if you think about the game dynamics, sending your Titans and your strongest fleet, you want to send your strongest plane in that strongest fleet. There is some benefits, right? So if you have, there might be an argument that you could hold a second plane and make that a secondary strong plane so that if you're attacked while your Titans are busy attacking and you're a monster, that you have somebody defending home, right? So there could be an argument be made for a second plane, but the vast majority will evolve and spend on one plane is my prediction.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely players that, put a lot of weight into GC or Chaos Land, they're, typically 5 fleets is sent out easily. So that's another reason why some people might be upgrading most of the ships. But like for me, probably 95% of my battles, I'm only using one fleet. So I'm really just going to, I haven't even really updated anything yet, but I'm going to concentrate on just one for now and then kind of move from there.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense to only do one because, you can only deploy one fleet in duel and triangle. And like you guys said, most of your big battles are your primary fleet with your Titans. I do think that this unit is a very smart play on Camel's part, because your big whales always have something to spend on, because they can do all 5, whereas your smaller spenders can actually see the light at the end of the tunnel because they only really need to get one.
Yeah, one of the things that I do like is that it unlocks, depending on your city level, it unlocks them. So you'll actually see, one of the Titans go out. But obviously it's not upgraded, so it's kind of cool that you actually have it. Whether regardless if it's kind of weak at that point in time, but it's kind of nice to have.
So Jack, you went grocery shopping. It looks like that's quite a lot of items you got there.
Yeah, I looked at the store and bought a few things. I was really waiting on you, Lumbergh, to talk with you to see what I should start upgrading. Now, I'm definitely going to just do one Titan to upgrade in level, but the modify, I guess, and when I look at this, to me this upgrade tree looks very linear. So it's really just kind of start upgrading to the point where you're getting to those skills that you want. So I think the crux of it, or the important thing here, is we should, like, for our viewers, identify what are the critical skills. So
Well,
take for instance,
first thing is the modify is the direct equivalent of the Titan's evolution, and the
yeah,
level is just like the levels.
yeah, correct. So you would, like, once you hit like tier 10, you would be unlocking this guy here, the tactical missile. And then that's when you start to go into, I think, some of the other skills. So yeah, well, you would have to go, I guess, up to here to get to blue, but there doesn't seem to be a tree. It seems to be just a one path. You just upgrade, and then you pick the ones that you want to really pour your components into.
Yeah, and looking at it, in the green tree, the middle skills or actually the left two skills are not all that great, but the middle and the right skills are pretty fantastic.
Yeah, I think right off the bat, people are really talking about this one. This one is the mechanical golem, where you're essentially throwing more front line for your troops to use, which that sounds like I'm really interested to see how that works. And then the second one is kind of a initial unlock of the disruptor ammo. So this one, as you evolve up to different levels, that one, but like, say, this one, it's gonna really build off this particular weapon type, which I haven't even taken a look at it. Lumbergh, have you seen this one? Is it kind of like Medici?
Yeah, I think this one is kind of a silent skill, so I think this will have impact for a lot of the troop types and titans, right? So I think this one, along with the next skill, where the odds improve. I don't think this silences the troops from attacking, but it silences their special skills. So that should be a probably amongst the two most impactful. One of them is the one you highlighted, the mechanical golem, and the second one would be this disruptor ammo. That being said, we don't have to jump and get it on day one, right? So we can let the super mega whales kind of test it out and then see really if it's worth spending on that last pack, right? So, but an easy tip would be, you can kind of see it here. Don't upgrade everything that's available. There probably is going to be an event to upgrade and spend leveling up your warplanes. But the one item that you basically have to spend on, if you are picking one, would be the evolution items or the modify items, right? To get to these skills unlocked is the key thing. And there's going to be good skills, there's going to be bad skills, and we have to test it out. So just don't go. I don't see a recycle button, so I don't see that you can undo it.
No, there's not.
So what you're saying is, go ahead and run through this tree here. Just start upgrading to unlock these guys here.
Yes, you can't go wrong there, because it's going to unlock. You have to get to the mechanical golem skill, right? So this will get you, looks like, all the way through this first. And we should highlight that there is 2 green evolutions. So it's almost like having 2 titans and doing it simultaneously. There's 2 green, 10 evolutions, 2 blue, 2 purple, 2 orange. So it is expensive. It's very expensive.
Explain that to me, because I heard that again. I've heard that before. The 2 air quote 2 titan thing. How do you mean by the 2 titan thing? I'm looking at the 2 green trees and the 2 blue trees. How exactly, what are you saying about 2 titans?
So if you look at that first top line, right? So 10 evolution gets you to that the first 3 kind of hats in that, right? It gets you to and they call it explorer tier, right? So let's not get caught up in the names of it, but 10 evolutions, meaning costing 20 alloy each. 200 alloy unlocks that next tier, the tactical missile, right? If you click on 1 down, and you can see that the icon changes a little bit. So each of those rows has a plane icon, you can see that, the first one's like a simple plain green, and then the second one is like a plain logo with a little bit more of a,
I see what
better
you're saying.
frame.
Yeah. Okay.
And so you need essentially 20 evolutions to get to blue. That's as simple as it is, right? So it's 10 times 20 alloy plus 50 times 10 alloy. So 700 alloy to get to blue is what it looks like.
Yeah.
So we're going to be just short with I think you had 516.
And you can see that. Well, what'll happen is when you flip back to the modify screen, once you finish this, you will see another set of greens.
You just unlocked the first skill.
I think it falls short of going to this. Oh.
Second skill unlocked. So now it's costing us 50, right? So the cost went from 20 to 50.
Okay. So this is where the road stops. So I fall short right here at the long range weakness recognition, increases long range troops, warplanes troops. Okay. Interesting. We go back to this guy here. So if we coveted any of these skills, I should be able to dump into these guys now.
Correct.
That's right. And that's where I would stop you, that, don't go spending all your items on this. Wait until you really focus on the skills that you care about.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say even early on, there's a couple skills you can't go wrong with. The second one in the green row, that last one that you unlocked, added firepower.
Yep.
Like, you're never going to go wrong with that. So if you want to put a few points into that one, that's fine.
I've got to. So once you hit level 5, you've got to be at least level. Oh, and that's the other thing, is I haven't upgraded.
I agree with Matty. You can't go wrong with that one.
Sure, I'll hit level 12 yet.
I think you're going to hit level 20.
So got to 15. So yeah, so now we can go back in here if I wanted to, but I'm gonna read over these a little bit and see.
Yeah, I would save them. You can put a few points into a couple of them, but you really want to wait on those big ones. I wouldn't upgrade that one.
Okay, good call.
Those first two green ones are not the best.
All right. So as far as gameplay, how do you guys see this panning out? Is it just another way for those big whales to really put a hurting on people, or what?
I mean, absolutely. The whales are just going to get bigger, but because this is split up across 5 planes, the gap is not going to be as big as if it was just one unit, right?
Yeah.
Aside from Global Conquest and Chaos Land and things like that.
I wonder if people will evolve to the point where when they send or when they attack, they might set up different formations. So maybe they send out like normal Titans for an attack and leave something at home. You know what I mean? Instead of sending everything at once. I mean, it sounds like it sounds like you want to include all 3 at the same time, but
yeah. So when I'm 5 fleeting somebody, my first fleet's going to have one Titan. The second fleet's going to have a second Titan. The third fleet will probably have my highest plane. So there will have to be some adjustments there because you will want one of your lower level planes to go along with your Titans.
Yeah, I
since
mean,
you can use all five. Yeah.
I think one of the strategies now is to catch cities on a counterstrike, right? So when they send the attack, all their Titans are gone. Your chances of beating that city have just improved tremendously. So maybe you'll see a little bit of a push for some players to leave maybe one or two Titans at home in case that happens. But that would be interesting to see.
Yeah, you should always have one at home, I would think. Just because you have five. I mean, if you've got five fleets out, maybe there's not one at home. But if you've got five fleets out, you should have nothing in your city. So it will take some adjustment, and there'll be some strategies around that, I'm sure, as time progresses.
Yeah. Lumbergh, do you have any other thoughts on this upgrade tree?
Not on the upgrade tree, but before I it's the same broken record, right? Before you invest too much money, wait until you test it out or others test it out, those that are going to spend it regardless, and make sure it is as good as it sounds on paper, right? So a lot of this is yet to be seen in battle. I encourage everyone as they level these up to kind of do test with and without, and those are your best tests of kind of figuring out whether or not this is worth the money or not.
Yeah, I mean, and a good test on paper is in the uranium mines. I mean, you can just see how many troops it kills. And that'll let you know how potent it is in battle. Obviously, there's some other skills that affect other aspects of it, but it's a good indicator just how many troops it kills.
Yeah. So, on to the next thing. Then this really has a adverse effect on melee fighters. I saw the video. This player was attacked. I mean, there was a certain situation with it. I don't know if they had taken their officers off or not, but I mean, it was wild because he couldn't kill anybody. I mean, he was literally fighting for like 40 minutes against a lesser city, and he was getting killed. So I'm not sure exactly how that's going to play out with Camel, but I think, in my opinion, that's a nerf. They're going to do something. It might not fix it completely, but they're definitely going to fix something. But I don't know what to say. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, and what it is it's the plane itself 100% dodges all melee attacks, and then I think it dodges 20% of mid-range and long-range attacks. So if you've got a full fleet of nothing but melee at home and no officers equipped, you have no way of attacking this unit at all. I mean, the good news here is that there are very few melee players in the game, but this is very disheartening for them. The ones that are in the game are typically very heavy spenders, so their breakthroughs are maxed out, and I don't think it's going to have the impact that people are saying it is, but it is a slap in the face to the players.
Did you get to research on this any, Lumbergh?
Yeah, there's going to be some unintended consequences, right? So let's think about a scenario where, you're raiding your farm, right? You're raiding your farm and you leave the plane in, and you are raiding with just the preset fleet where, the first one sends all melee. So you hit this farm, you're not even trying to test anything, right? And let's say you're not a max player and you don't have the breakout skills that kind of bail you out when the plane is stuck. So you could basically require a retreat every time you're raiding your farm. You leave the farm plane in, right? So that, or you're just clearing it in void, and you're stuck in this kind of battle loop. So I think there needs to be some type of an adjustment from Camel that they haven't kind of thought about. The nerf of the melee players, because there's more than just a few, right? I wouldn't say it's close to a full 2% of players, but there's a handful of pretty heavy spenders that did experience with it. So there's going to be some unintended consequences of just 100% miss, and maybe either a battle kind of exit after 5 minutes. Because I think you mentioned this, but some of those battles could go on forever. I mean, I when I was doing my testing, I had to use a retreat because there was no way to exit it other than a retreat, and retreats are pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat is asking a question.
Okay.
If there's any upside for mid-range players.
I'm not sure because it sounds as though with all the officers and different skills that the Titans have, it always seems like it's weighted towards a specific area. And this one, these Titans seem like right now, initially, it's weighted towards a nerf on melee. So I didn't see like any imbalance between mid range and long range, but I don't know. Matty D, did you see anything?
I didn't see anything. I'm double checking right now. So there is one skill that increases attack to mid-range troops, but I don't see one that increases attack to long-range troops.
I think I saw that too, but I thought I saw it further down in the tree. There's the mid-range. All troop. Here's the long-range one.
Okay.
Yeah, so there it looks like it's balanced as far as the three, but the real killer is this guy here, dodge melee attacks 100%. That's just crazy.
That is crazy. I mean, at the very bottom, orange skill in the middle, that does increase attack, HP, and defense of melee troops. So that's a little bonus for them, but it's the dodging thing is ridiculous.
Yeah, 100%. Maybe that's where the fix is. Maybe they changed that too. Thanks, Nikki.
Yeah, most of the tests that we've seen, I don't think they used armored soldiers because these were tests. I think if you use armored soldiers, I think the planes will be toast, right? But they'll kill themselves.
Okay.
On the reflect damage, I mean.
I see another question there. What is more important now, Titans or spaceships?
I think you've got to think of spaceships as an additional Titan.
Yeah. The way that I look at it is, depending on how far your Titans are evolved, it gets more and more expensive to bring them up. These, since they're newly introduced, the cost is going to be, in my opinion, significantly lower. So I would, continue to upgrade your normal Titans, but definitely you can probably see some nice little boosts if you start putting some money into this because it's, seemingly less expensive right now.
Yeah, and Lumbergh touched on his video, but the normal pack store that's not in the specials, that's got Warplane in there, but those are going to be the most expensive. Wait for the specials. There will be daily specials, weekly specials, probably monthly specials that'll be way cheaper. Don't buy the bad ones at a bad rate. Just be patient.
I mean, currently, if you do your dailies, you do get some of the Warplanes parts. Like, if you do the ruins, it gives you some pieces. At least that's a bit different from Titans, Because for Titans, you get them from events, but at least you can get something while doing your ruins.
Yeah, Lumbergh, you kind of told me about that. So tell us what some of the non-spenders can do to help level up their spaceship.
Yeah, I think as Nikki said, it is a little bit more attainable, right? Because sometimes events are hard to do. Usually the non-spenders are probably not as active, but ruins just takes a second to do. You do need to wait I think 5 days. Make sure you do the 2 ruins. There's 10 levels to get to some of the better rewards, but that's not bad. You're getting evolution items from ruins, right? So that's very different than the Titan tree. Now, one thing I will point out is if you look at the current packs and you look at the tree, I find it hard to believe that the purple evolution and the orange evolution does not require additional items. Like, that's just impossible for Camel to give up, right? So right now, the only ones available is the green and blue evolutions. And if it's similar to the Titans, remember, like I can't even remember their different names, right? You need a different material, like the mutagen source stone, to evolve at orange and a different one at purple, right? So I'm pretty sure the purple and orange evolutions will get progressively expensive because they will require items that you can only get in the shop. So you can't tell it now because you can't see that tree and nobody has gotten that far up. But I imagine purple evolutions and orange evolutions will require additional items that are not available yet.
Yeah. Rags has a point in chat where he's basically saying when Titans got released, they needed at least 6 months before they grew strong enough to carry battles. I remember this, and this is kind of the same for a lot of the troops that they released. Like the zombies, I remember when they were first released, they were nothing. And then Titans weren't that great either, but as they evolved and they got more skills, they really, to the point where Titans are just the pinnacle right now. So
Yeah. And when Titans were released, they were also a bit broken too, because you could send Titans without a fleet and just basically get free attacks, and all you needed was vitality.
Yeah.
But they adjusted that to where you had to send a certain percentage of your fleet. It may be the same type of oversight here with the melee stuff.
So back to your point, Lumbergh. So what you're saying on this upgrade tree, that there's only one material that we need, not like 2 or 3 like on the other Titans?
Currently, there's only one material that is needed for blue and green, or really blue and green evolutions. But I think that's going to change where it's going to need more than just the purple alloy.
Yeah.
That's
there's another
impossible.
question.
Okay.
Sorry, continue, Lumbergh.
I was done. Go ahead. We've got some good questions.
So he said someone at Mongoose asked, what do you think about the skill disruptor? It seems to be the best addition to a battle.
Yeah, that one, from what I've seen and what I'm hearing, feedback from, that one definitely looks like it's one of the top ones that you want to upgrade, mainly because whenever you see a skill and then it has additional skills to implement or to enhance it, that's typically one that's really good. But back to Lumbergh's point earlier, these really need to be tested. Like, when you're in the mines or when you're in void or fighting, you need to see how they perform. I think there will be tab for it, but it needs additional information.
Yeah, Disruptor looks like it's good on paper, but we don't know the targeting mechanism. We don't know what troop it's going to target. If it hits a melee unit, that's going to be huge because it drops, that damage reduction. If it hits the troop that has the least amount, that's going to be, less impactful overall.
And
another question.
Go ahead.
What is the pinnacle? Sorry, yeah. What is the particle cannon in the daily special?
That the event thing?
Yeah, that's the event token.
I think it's the $2.99 pack that you can exchange for.
This guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So this one, I think essentially what you're doing here is you go into permits, you exchange the items, and then you can start buying like different items after you exchange the particle cannons and the particle cannons, thrusters, and vibranium shield.
Yeah, it's the same type of event we've seen. I think maybe once a month or every other month. It just happens to give the warplane stuff this time around.
What Camel did with that is that they gave enough of those packs that even after you exhaust every single pack in the normal store, you can essentially buy those, exchange those to the exchange those for the evolve items and get to a blue plane. So I think somebody does have Golem unlocked.
Okay, so they exchanged all these items, went to here, and then just started buying these guys. So that
That's right.
That's some pretty good commitment there.
I don't know if commitment's the right word, but you know,
yeah,
it's definitely something.
Misspeak for credit card.
It's not. It's probably not the most efficient way, but sometimes efficient's not the way that they're going at it.
Yeah, I'm actually curious who has the highest one right now, and just to see at what point we could get to.
Our nation, probably the guy that's going to have it is this one. It doesn't. I don't think he's really.
Oh, so something else too is in the ranking page. They added a war page ranking or a warplane ranking.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. Yeah.
Yeah, he's up there. And then also on the stats page, much to people's disdain, they added a new stat on the strength analysis. Excuse me.
Oh yeah. Not pull mine up. Mine's horrid.
Oh come on! You already showed us your officers.
Here we go. I've got a problem here. Looking pretty weak.
Yeah,
wow. So I was an S plus or whatever before, and now with this release of the Warplane, it knocked me back down to an S.
That alone is going to drive so much spending right there.
Oh, well, I mean, it's visually, you're like, oh, you got to fix that. So people are going to hop on that. But it drives me nuts. Be the last time I look at that page again for a while. All right. Well, guys, what else? What else do we have on the warplane? Any other items to cover as far as the impact on the game, or we still need a lot of testing?
No, I mean, all we can do is encourage players to test different things in the uranium mines and various scenarios, and just kind of let us know what they're seeing.
I do like the fact that once your city hits a certain level, you get all 5. So essentially, even though they're lower levels, you're not going to upgrade them. At least you've got them in the fight for with you. I think that was a kind of a smart move for Camel, so that everybody kind of feels like they're a part of it now. It's not like they feel like they have to go out and buy it. At least they have one. It's just not that strong. So good move on Camel's part.
I did want to say,
you can go on.
I did want to say that there was some thought put into some of these skills. They do seem to be a counter to some of the Titan skills, and it is well designed on paper. So with that caveat, the tricky part is always the pretty high paywall, right? So if just the items were a little bit more cheaper, it would just mean that more people could spend and little amounts to get stronger versus just fewer people spending gobs of amounts to get stronger. So I really wish they lived in kind of regular world prices for packs and not this arbitrary, top 0.001%. One thing that I did want to share is that there is a couple of cool skills that say increase damage to Titans, and that doesn't show up. So none of these. Those are some new skills that that actually specifically impact Titans or reduces the damage from Titans. I expected some of that to show up in the stats page, so that tells me that maybe that is only active when the warplane is alive. So usually things that show up in the stats page are things that would be available even after the warplane dies. So that is one thing to kind of look at and keep in mind. What happens if none of these showed up in the stats page? Does that mean that your warplane has to survive?
Is this what you're talking about, Lumbergh? The reduces damage taken from Titans by warplanes troops by whatever percentage?
Correct. So that reduces damage is usually a better than just reduces attack kind of language of the game. And I was hoping that this would be kind of similar to the Titan. You know how there's the Titan, I think it's Queen Majesty skill that increases like damage to LRA. I was hoping that this would be something like that, and we would see a new stat in the stats page that would be, reduces damage taken from Titans, not just LRA, zombies, melee, but there would be one more category of Titans, but I don't see that yet.
Yeah, I'm really thinking that disruptor is going to be a key component, because in my experience, the more like other alternate skills that enhance that disruptor there are, that means that it's definitely one of.
Yeah, and disruptor, I mean, it's middle of the tree, and if we find out that it's very, very good, it may make sense to get more than one plane just up to that disruptor, then stop.
So any thoughts with this release when C40 might be released? Does this push it back?
I think it does push it back. I mean, this is timed exactly to the point where Titan equipment is fully maxed out, so the whales have nothing to spend on except for Maria. So now they've got their next button to press.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So hopefully this does push it back.
Agreed. It's a smart move by Camel. Because C40 would certainly, it's morally, it would morally affect a lot of players, from being disheartened, rather than this is something that everybody can get, right? It starts off free. I mean, first celebration is you get a plane for free, no matter what, without spending a cent, right? So, but it still gets Camel the revenue that they need, keeps the players busy. So yeah, it's a smart move.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, I think we covered everything. If you guys can't think of anything else, well, let me open the floor. Does anybody else want to bring up anything else about warplanes or questions in the chat? See, Ragnaros is campaigning for NX3 again. Cool. All right, guys. Well, I think that covers everything. Thanks for joining the stream, and I'm going to go ahead and close it out. And looking forward to the next show. Thanks again, guys.
All right. Thanks for having us.
All right. See ya.